So, good afternoon. I have a question for all of you before we start. Are there people here that are not into IT? One person? So, the two, three? That's it. So, all the rest is in IT? Amazing. Okay, so my challenge is even bigger because I'm here in order to talk about marketing. So, I will try to do that. So, before I start, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Christophe Martinot. I have a Frenchy name, but I'm from Belgium. So, I'm a little bit different from the Frenchy people. I'm from Belgium. We're very nice and kind and humble people. And I used to work in big corporations. So, I've been working for companies like Danone, like L'Oréal, like Sanofi, Abbott in the pharmaceutical world. And then I got to learn a little bit more about agility. And I like you to remember me as a former addict. Yes, I am, or I was, an addict. It's amazing, the silence is in the room now. So yes, I used to be a former addict. And I was addict to a way of working. And unfortunately, I'm not the only one. And there are thousands and millions of addicts in the corporations. In the big corporates, small corporates, and medium corporates. Okay, what do I understand by addiction? Well, there's these definitions that I like pretty much, is that people with addiction engage in behaviors that become compulsive and often continue despite harmful consequences. Right? Okay, I will explain you why I'm here. The purpose of my talk is to go and save marketeers across corporations, because they're all addicts like I used to be. As I quit this world, now I'm not an addict anymore because I've learned about Agile, which is quite different. Okay, let's come back to the definition of marketing. So marketing is the activity, actually, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value. And you've seen that I'm underlying value because this is something marketers tend to forget. Value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Those poor marketeers, they are confronted to a new reality. You also are, but they are not used to that. The world has changed enormously. Have you heard about VUCA? I guess so. It means that we're in a changing environment. The second thing is marketeers, young marketeers, and all marketeers like me, we've seen our job, our role evolve enormously. And it has become more and more complex. When I started to work, it will give you a hint on my age, there was no internet. And there was almost no computer. So you can imagine how the job has been complexifying across and on the go. The second thing is most of marketers are wrong. They think customers know what they need. And it's not true. They don't know. The fourth thing, it's work-life balance. When I was young, I had to work my ass off to make my work successful. Nowadays, new generations, they're more and much more into work-life balance, which is good, which is much better, I think. And the last thing that is also changing is that after the pandemics, we're moving to a remote way of working, which is complicating everything. If you think about collaborating within the company when we work face-to-face, now that it's remote, it's even more difficult. Okay, well, marketeers, however, they continue to work like they've always been doing. So I asked a bunch of companies how many times a year they would plan their next years. And most of them, around 80% of those people and companies, they're telling me, we plan once a year. Okay. The second question is, how much time do you spend on planning? Well, around 60% of them spend between 1 month and more than 2 months in order to plan, right? And then the last question is 40% think that this is an inefficient exercise, that the benefit that they take from this planning exercise, it's not fruitful for them, right? And I can tell you that actually 40%, it's not the truth, because most of them are lying because they don't want to recognize that they're doing something that is stupid, right? And then I showed them this. say, okay, this is your plan, so you plan 3 months, you spend a lot of time, and actually your reality is totally different. That's a big aha moment for them. And then I bring them to the consequences of planning so much and the way of working they are using. That it's a waste of time, waste of money for the organization, but it's also harmful for their mental health, and it brings health issues. So the example of the planning, it's one thing, but marketers are doing a lot of things in this way. And when I was telling you I used to be an addict, I was addicted to this way of working because it was the only one I knew. When I quit the corporate world, I found out about Agile. And all you guys here are expert in Agile. But I learned about it. And I thought, wow, here, there's really something we can do in order to help those people. The problem is that, as I showed you, the environment is changing. And the way of working that marketers are using are not changing. And this is creating a lot of demotivation among employees. There is a very interesting report done by a huge company called Gallup, and they're saying that only 2 out of 10 employees are really engaged with their work, meaning that 8 of them are not motivated by their work. So the next question is, how can you think a company can still grow if most of their employees are not working? It's like driving a car with oxidated parts or a bad engine. It's the same. So when I go to companies and I start working with marketing teams that want to learn a new way of working, what I tell them it's this. Work smarter, not harder. Oh, we love it, but how do we do that? Well, there are 2 simple advices that I can give them. The first one is, busy is easy, focus is hard. And then I move to this slide. Have you ever heard about the Pareto's law? So it's 20% of your effort is generating 80% of your results. And the next one is this one. It's about context switching. The more projects you run simultaneously, the more waste you will generate. And this is when I used to do an exercise with them, but this is when they open their eyes and say, oh my gosh. Have you seen the title of my 2 previous slides? It's Focus is about saying no. And this was said by Steve Jobs. And it's really that. We need to learn on how to focus. The second advice that I'm telling them, it's this one. Stop guessing, start discovering. What do I mean by that? I mean that customers do not know what they want. They don't know. And most of the time when I ask marketers, what is your definition of marketing? It's, we have to create the needs for the clients. That's not true. That's not true. We have to find out what they want, and we have to do that hands-on, with them, collaborating and finding what is real value for them. I've released the word, and this is what I usually explain them. There is a difference between an output and an outcome, and this morning in the session, we talked about that. So an output for a marketer, it would be, I send an email, I do a presentation, I do a nice event, and I tick the box to tell my boss that I've done the right job, right? The outcome, it's when you achieve a real result, meaning that, but what you've done, you achieve that your customer is satisfied, that you have fulfilled a need, and that you have achieved a change in behavior. And what's the difference between both? You can produce as many outputs as you want, and this is where you will be wasting time. But what you have to achieve is the outcome. And how do you do that? Offering value to your customer. And this seems so basic that most of the marketers, when I tell them, they're like, oh, amazing value. I never thought about that. You're laughing, but that's true, unfortunately. So, my next question was, okay, could agility be useful for those people? Well, yes. It seems that Years ago, some people found out that smart guys like you, the IT guys, were working in an agile way. So they've been looking at the results and they've seen that actually agility works very well, that the product that they were releasing to the customers were very successful, that you did it really fast, and on top of that, that the motivation of the team was boosted. Okay, so what is that? And can we do the same in marketing? So it's simply agile way of working and joining it to marketing. This is my definition of agile marketing. And this man here, it's a kung fu guy because I compare agile way of working to martial arts. And for me, it's a discipline. And it's a step-by-step process, right? And the definition that I give, it's that the discipline combines mindsets and values, and that we have to be customer-focused and quality-centric. The values, it's pretty simple, because we've been working with the community, with the global community, we've been working on our own Agile Manifesto. We call it the Agile Marketing Manifesto, super original. But anyway, so that's how it is, Agile Marketing Manifesto. But I think the values are really powerful, because if you look at them, focusing on customer value and business outcomes over activity and output. We have to provide value to our clients. The second thing is delivering value early and often over waiting for perfection. This is typical in marketing. We build processes or projects or programs or campaigns for months, then we release it, and then it's a flop, it doesn't work. No value for the customers, it's too late, it's a lot of money, a lot of waste of time, and the team is demotivated. Third one, learning through experiments and data over opinions and conventions. I've been head of marketing, and I was in the market and I was meeting with some clients, and most of the time when I was coming back, I had met one or two clients and I was coming back to the team, and I was like doing a good proclamation. I was saying, the market needs this and this and that, because I had seen 2 or 3 customers, right? Or what I also did was we would run a market survey, a market research. I would take the results, squeeze them the way I wanted, and I was telling, this is what the market is. This is what the market is. This is not what we should look at if we want to work in an agile way of working. We're looking for continuous feedback. And continuous feedback means collaborate, discuss, dialogue with the client. The fourth one, cross-functional collaboration over silos and hierarchies. For those who are familiar with marketing and sales, this is the typical struggle. I mean, when I used to present as a marketing director a program to the sales guy would look at me, cross arms, in order to tell me, what is this bullshit you're showing me? I can see that you haven't been with the clients, that you haven't been in the market. What we want is to work together. Who better than the salespeople know what is value for your customers? So collaboration and cross-functional teams, this is the power of the agile way of working that companies are not doing so far. The last one is responding to changeover following a static plan. The beautiful plan that they've been doing for 3 months. Some companies, even if the reality has changed, they will still stick to it. Oh, we do it, but why do you do it? Oh, because it's in the plan. Yeah, but the situation has changed. Oh, but it's in the plan. Can you imagine that? And nowadays, in such a situation, it's impossible. So basically, when we talk about agile marketing, we're talking about 4 pillars. The frequent iterations that you guys know very well, and this is totally applicable to marketing. Cross-functional teams, and by cross-functional teams, we're not only talking about skills, but we're talking also about building teams that are made of sales, legal, compliance, regulatory, whatever you can imagine, but make cross-functional teams in order to make sure that we create value. Self-organized teams, not so much of a hierarchy where we have the boss telling the rest of the team what they have to do and what is value for the client. And then lately, continuous feedback. And by continuous feedback, it's not about market research that you run 2 times a year and you take the information from there thinking that it's the truth. No, we want to establish mechanisms for people, for companies, in order to get in touch with their clients. And why? Simply because, and this is what the American Association says, good marketing should not feel like marketing to customers. if you think about it, most of the time you're pushing back some campaigns that are too marketing-oriented. Oh, this is marketing, I don't like it. They're too pushy, we don't like it. If it's real good marketing and the campaigns or the project that you bring to your client is of real value, you won't feel it, and you will take it, because you will really find that there is a real value behind it. In order to help the marketeers, we've also, and this is a project I'm starting to work on with a friend in Canada, in Montreal. This is called the Agiles Customer Manifesto. And rather than thinking about marketeers, what we would like to do is to think the other way around. Even was talking this morning about business agility. At the end of the day, whether you're HR, IT, finance, marketing, sales, we all have internal clients. We all have internal customers. And what we would like to have, it's a reflection about how do we have to address to those customers' needs in an agile way. And this is what we're working on, this Agile Customers Manifesto. So you can scan the QR code, and we're more happy to have you to join us in order to work on that. So I spoke about values and principles. Now, what are the practices that we do? And here, usually, when I speak with pure Agilists, they kill me. They don't like it. Because what I do, I take the heart of Agile. Have you ever heard about that? It's Alistair Cockburn that works on that, and I love it because it's really simple. He summarizes Agile in 4 words: collaborate, deliver, reflect, and improve. So collaborate, it's working all together, cross-functional. Deliver, it's about delivering value and in a frequent iteration, with frequent iterations. Reflect, it's about what is the value that I've given, how can I improve it, but it's also reflect about how we're working, can we improve the process. I can tell you, because I've been a corporate bird for many years, we never stop at reflecting on our process. We work, and we never stop in order to reflect how can we improve. And the last thing, improve, I've just mentioned. So about practices, when marketing teams start to adopt Agile, what they do, they don't do Scrum, they don't do Kanban, they just do a mix. And what we tell them is to use frameworks as a toolbox. We don't care about the time of the sprints, we don't care about the rules of the Scrum, we don't care about what we teach them is to learn across the frameworks what are the best practices that they can implement, adapt in order for them to work efficiently. Interesting, yes, they tell me most of the time. Super interesting, but, and those are the barriers that I always find. Lack of training, oh, but we're not trained. It's not a problem, this is our job, we can train them. Actual processes work fine. I don't believe them, but they say it. We don't have talent enough internally in order to do that. Train them. Lack of management support, and this is the big part. Most of the time when companies or teams are willing to move into agile way of working, whether it is in sales or in marketing, if there is no support from the leader, it will not work. Lack of tools, also quite easy, because tools, there are plenty of them, and lack of time, it's all about excuse. The thing is, moving to an agile way of working, it's a change, it's a mindset change, and it's a leader's change also. We're moving from a manager who most of the time is controlling to a servant leader. So you may be, or you may think you're losing power, but it is not. So, with all the barriers, I also showed them the benefits. And we have some studies showing that companies or teams that have adopted the agile way of working have shown increase of revenue between 20 and 40%. And I can tell you that people that are in the business, usually they like that. I can change the way of working and this will help me to increase my revenue. That's good. That's good. I like it. And then on top of that, and those are the same that you find in IT world, usually you have speed of execution, they're faster. You have alignment with the strategy and the focus is much better because we teach them how to focus better with the idea of value in their mind. Adaptability and flexibility. We have client centricity. This is much better. I can tell you, I've been working in pharmaceutical companies and most of the time they tell, oh, we're patient-centric. Bullshit. They're not. They don't know what is bringing value to those people. Prioritization, they learn a lot about that. Teamwork, team motivation, and then there is accountability. And then there are also studies showing that teams working in the traditional way versus team working with the agile way of working, they are much better in terms of response to change, prioritization, on-time delivery, customer focus, and budget control. So how do we do that? We train them, we coach them, and then we'll tell them experience, and we will accompany you in order to implement well. We usually tell them to pick one project, to take an entire team, cross-functional team, to do it step by step, to use metrics in order to show the before and the after, and so that they can advocate within the organization. They have to find for a sponsor, somebody that will support it and help them to implement. And then we work on the mindset a lot. You've seen that I've shown you the Agile Marketing Manifesto. It's because it's all about mindset, and this is their compass. And it's a good compass for the team in order to redirect if they need. And this brings me to one of my questions to the audience. Imagine you go to a restaurant, right? You have two restaurants, A and B. A is good food, B is good food as well. A is bad service, B is good service. Are you going to be with bad service? Are you going to repeat this experience? The food was good, but the service was bad? No. Are you going to A, where the food was good, but the service was excellent? Probably yes. Well, this is explaining simply one thing. That if your employees are satisfied in their job and happy, they will provide better service. The better service will loyalize your client. And if your clients are happy, loyal to your company, your service, or your project, they will repeat, and this will have an impact on your revenue as a company. So basically, and this is something I can tell you, I've suffered it a lot in the companies, the manager that is in your neck controlling all what you're doing, rather instead of empowering you, this changes everything with the team motivation. And if your team is motivated, understand how to work in an effective way, knows how to prioritize, normally you should have excellent results with regards to business. I always end up with the marketing or the leaders in the company telling them this quote of Gandhi: you are the one deciding. If you want to be the change, be the change you want to see in the world, because if you want to make a difference in your company, this is the way you should go, agile way of working. For me, that's it. I don't know if you have any question. I'm more than happy to answer to your questions, and I'm super happy to connect as well. I learned how to say thank you in Czech, but dziękuję, no. But I forgot, so I'm not good at all. So thank you very much.